You think you're tired because you work too much. But what if that's not the real reason? What if the thing draining you most isn't your job, your bills, or your schedule? What if you're paying an invisible tax every single day? Not with money, with your attention, your peace, your energy. Every argument you replay in your head, tax. Every message you feel pressured to answer, tax. Every moment you worry about what someone thinks of you, tax. And the dangerous part is this: you don't notice it while it's happening. You just wake up one day and feel empty. You still have the same 24 hours, the same job, the same body, but somehow you have nothing left. So today, I want to tell you the story of a man named Marcus, a man who thought he was broke on time, but he was actually bankrupt in energy. And once he learned how to stop paying the invisible tax, his whole life changed. But the lesson didn't come from a book. It came from one argument, one receipt, and one quiet night where he finally saw the truth. Marcus was 38 years old. He worked in a warehouse outside a small town in Ohio. Nothing fancy. Concrete floors, fluorescent lights, a break room coffee machine that always tasted burnt. He worked from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., 8 hours on paper. But somehow, every day felt like 12. When he got home, he didn't do much. He would drop his keys on the kitchen counter, sit on the couch, and scroll through his phone. Not because he was lazy, because he felt drained before the evening even started. His wife once asked him, "Why are you always so tired?" Marcus didn't know what to say. He wasn't sick. He wasn't working 2 jobs. He wasn't even doing anything extreme, but his mind felt crowded. All day, people pulled from him. A coworker complaining about the manager, a neighbor asking for help, a group chat full of drama, a brother calling only when he needed money. And Marcus always responded. He listened. He explained. He reacted. He carried things that were never his to carry. At first, it felt normal. That's what good people do, right? They care. But slowly, Marcus started noticing something strange. He had no energy left for the things he claimed mattered. He wanted to fix the garage shelf. He wanted to walk after dinner. He wanted to start a small weekend repair service. But every night, he said the same thing: "I'll do it tomorrow." And tomorrow kept becoming next week. But the real cost was about to show up. Here's the part nobody expects. Marcus wasn't wasting his life in big ways. He was losing it in tiny leaks. 10 minutes arguing in his head about what someone said. 20 minutes checking if a message sounded rude. 30 minutes scrolling because he felt too mentally tired to move. 1 hour talking to people who never actually listened. By the end of the day, Marcus hadn't made one clear decision for himself. He had only reacted, and reaction is expensive. One Friday evening, Marcus opened his banking app. 184 left. Rent was already paid, but gas, groceries, and one electric bill were still waiting. He stared at the number, then he looked at the kitchen table. There was a receipt from the gas station, coffee, chips, a sandwich he didn't even enjoy. 17美元, 82美分. It wasn't much, but it happened almost every day. Stress spending, not because he was hungry, because he was drained. Because when your energy is gone, you stop choosing wisely. You choose whatever is easy. That night, Marcus sat alone in the kitchen. The house was quiet. His phone buzzed again. A coworker had sent a long message about workplace drama. Marcus reached for it automatically. Then he stopped, and for the first time, he asked himself, "Why do I feel responsible for everything that enters my phone?" That question bothered him, because deep down, he knew the answer. He had trained the world to take his energy for free, but the real shift had not happened yet. The next morning, Marcus went to a small diner before work. He ordered black coffee and 2 eggs. 8美分. He sat in a corner booth, still thinking about the receipt from the night before. At the table beside him sat an older man named Walter. Walter was retired. He used to run a small auto shop in town. He was the kind of man who didn't speak much, but when he did, people listened. Walter noticed Marcus staring at his phone. "Bad news?" he asked. Marcus gave a tired laugh. "No, just people." Walter nodded like he understood. "That can be worse." Marcus looked up. Walter pointed at the phone and said, "You know what that is?" Marcus said, "A phone?" Walter shook his head. "That's a cash register." Marcus frowned. Walter continued, "Every time you give your attention to the wrong thing, it charges you. You just don't see the bill right away." Marcus sat still. Walter took a sip of coffee. Most men think they're tired because they work hard. But many are tired because they spend energy on things that give nothing back. Marcus didn't answer, because something about that sentence felt too accurate. Walter leaned closer and said, "Track your energy like money for 1 week. Then you'll see where your life is leaking." And that was the beginning. That night, Marcus did something simple. He took a yellow notebook from a kitchen drawer. On the first page, he wrote, "Energy budget." Then he made 2 columns. Left side, gives energy. Right side, takes energy. At first, it felt strange, but after 1 day, the truth became obvious. His job was tiring, but it was not the main problem. The main problem was what happened around the job. Drama conversation. Unnecessary arguments. Checking his phone every 1-2 minutes. Trying to prove himself to people who had already decided how they saw him. Thinking about things he couldn't control. Walter had been right. Marcus wasn't tired because life was impossible. He was tired because his energy had no protection. So he built a system. The energy budget system. Track what drains you daily. Cut 1 useless conversation. Delay emotional replies by 30 minutes. Block phone use after dinner. Spend energy on 1 priority first. Protect silence, like income. This is where most people get it wrong. They try to manage time, but time is not enough. Because you can have 2 free hours and still do nothing meaningful if your mind is exhausted. Energy comes before productivity. Clarity comes before discipline. And protection comes before growth. Marcus realized something painful. He didn't need a completely new life. He needed to stop leaking the life he already had. So, the next morning, he tested the system. And almost immediately, life pushed back. At work, a coworker named Brian walked up to Marcus during break. "You hear what the manager said about Rick?" Normally, Marcus would lean in. He would listen, ask questions, give opinions, then carry the conversation in his head for the next 3 hours. But this time, Marcus looked at his lunch and said, "I'm staying out of it today." Brian blinked. "Seriously?" Marcus nodded. "Yeah, I've got enough on my plate." It felt awkward, but after 2 minutes, Brian found someone else to talk to. And Marcus noticed something. Nothing collapsed. No one hated him. The world kept moving. That evening, his brother called. Usually, that meant one thing: money. Marcus stared at the phone. He waited. 30 minutes. Then, he called back. His brother started with the usual pressure. "Man, I just need a little help." Marcus listened, then said, "I can't send money this week." There was silence, then guilt, then frustration. Marcus felt his chest tighten. The old Marcus wanted to explain, wanted to soften it, wanted to make everyone comfortable. But he remembered the notebook. Protect silence like income. So he said, "I hope you figure it out. I can't do it this time," and ended the call. That night, Marcus did something he hadn't done in months. He cleaned the garage shelf. It took 42 minutes. Not life-changing, not impressive, but when he finished, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: control. Over the next 2 weeks, Small things changed. He stopped checking messages during dinner. He walked 20 minutes after work. He saved $35 the first week just by avoiding stress snacks. He slept better. He spoke less. But when he did speak, he meant it. Then came the real test. It happened on a Thursday. The warehouse was behind schedule. Everyone was tense. The manager called the team together and said, "We need volunteers to stay late." Marcus already knew what was coming. He had stayed late many times before, sometimes paid, sometimes not, always exhausting. The manager looked directly at him. "Marcus, you're reliable. Can we count on you?" There it was, the sentence that used to trap him. Reliable, good man, team player, the kind of words that sound like praise, but sometimes are just pressure wearing a clean shirt. Marcus felt everyone looking. His body reacted before his mind did. Heart faster, shoulders tight, mouth almost ready to say yes. Then he remembered the notebook. He remembered the gas station receipt. He remembered $184. He remembered all the nights he gave away his best energy, then came home with nothing left for his own life. And in that moment, he understood. This was not about one extra shift. This was about ownership. If he said yes from fear, he would pay the tax again. So he took one breath and said, "I can't stay tonight." The room went quiet. The manager frowned. "You have something important?" This was the trap. Because once Marcus explained, they could negotiate. They could judge whether his reason was good enough. They could pull him back into the old pattern. But Marcus had learned something. A boundary does not need a courtroom. So he said, "I'm not available tonight." Nothing more. The silence felt heavy. Brian looked at him like he had done something dangerous. The manager paused, then said, "Fine, we'll ask someone else." That was it. No explosion, no disaster, just a boundary surviving its first storm. But the real victory came later. Marcus got home before sunset. His daughter was sitting at the table with a broken wooden chair beside her. "Dad, can you fix this?" The old Marcus would have said, "Tomorrow." But tonight, he had energy. He had attention. He had patience. He pulled out his tools, sanded the edge, tightened the screws, added a small brace from a scrap piece in the garage. Total cost, 13.4. Total time, 28 minutes. When he finished, his daughter smiled and said, "You actually fixed it." That sentence hit him harder than the manager's pressure, because Marcus finally saw it clearly. Every time he wasted energy on the wrong things, he had less to give to the right people. Not because he didn't care, because he had been paying the invisible tax all day. That night, Marcus opened his notebook again. "Undertakes energy," he wrote, "trying to be available to everyone." Under gives energy, he wrote, "being present for my own life." And for the first time in years, he went to sleep without feeling like the day had stolen from him. He had taken something back. Most people don't need more hours. They need fewer leaks. Because your life is not only shaped by what you do, it is shaped by what drains you before you even begin. The wrong conversations, the wrong people, the wrong distractions, the wrong guilt. All of it charges you. All of it takes something. And if you never check the bill, you will keep wondering why you feel empty. So remember this: your energy is a budget. Spend it where it builds something. Spend it on your health, your family, your purpose, your peace. Not every message deserves a reply. Not every argument deserves your voice. Not every problem deserves your attention. And not every person deserves access to your mind. Protect your energy, because your future is built with whatever you have left. If this story hit you, comment energy and subscribe for more stories that help you take your life back.